Welcome back. One Bills Live from Bills Training Camp. John Murphy, Steve Tasker, and a special guest doing his own thing here, his own work right across the way for the NFL Network analyst and color analyst on the Chargers Radio Network. Happy to have Daniel Jeremiah with us. Good to see you.
It's great to see you, bud, man. It's what a beautiful setting for training camp you guys have out here, Steve. This is unbelievable.
It's great weather, too. And some of the guys from the South who were first time, they go, wow, it's not even hot here, you know.
I was in Houston yesterday, trust me.
It's hot.
I'll gladly stay here for another week. It is beautiful.
Exactly. I know you're working, but you did get a look at the Bills. What did you make of what you saw today? What did you think?
Well, first of all, just look at the roster and how it's constructed, comparing it to that Chargers game you were referencing last year.
The home game, our home opener.
Yeah, and that was the first time really to see Josh out there. And I think three guys, right? I mean, you got the left tackle, the running back, and the quarterback. Really, outside of that, it's pretty much a whole new group offensively. So I think they've done a nice job of building some pieces around Josh up front, as well as some pieces in the passing game to give him a chance. Last year was so much on his shoulders, and his competitiveness and toughness as a runner and getting some big plays made this team competitive. But in order to become a really good football team, they needed better pieces. And when you look out there, and now you can put a Cole Beasley in the slot, you keep John Brown healthy to go along with Zay Jones, I think they've got a shot.
Do you think if their offensive line, say, to give it some random ranking of average, above average, good, whatever, that much better than it was a year ago, how big a ripple effect will that have for Beasley, Brown, and Josh Allen, LaShawn McCoy, Frank Gore?
100%. I think last year, I think we'd all agree, is a below-average group. And I don't know that they necessarily need to go from below average to great. I think if they can just kind of go from below average to competitive, you're going to see a huge jump in production from the quarterback. I mean, last year, you could say, okay, he's maybe not working deep in his progressions. Well, we don't know. He didn't have a chance to work deep through his progression because it was get to one, number two, and at that point in time, you better get the heck out of there or you're going to get hurt. So I want to see how all these new pieces on the offensive line come together, and I'm fascinated with Cody Ford because right now he's a tackle. Mm-hmm. I think he's got a chance to survive at tackle, but I think he's got a chance to be a great guard. So we go through the preseason. I'm anxious to see if he maybe cross-trains, get some work inside.
I want to get back to Cody Ford, but let me ask you about Josh Allen for a second here. What coming out of Wyoming and after his rookie year last year, what do you think the ceiling is for him? How good could Josh Allen be?
Well, you just talk about traits. You know, if you want to just look at there when you're going through the draft process, the size, the arm strength, the athleticism are off the charts. I mean, that's easy for everybody to see. To me, it was a couple things he needed to rein in, and that starts with decision-making. And a lot of people start with the accuracy and the completion percentage. To me, the way he plays, he's going to get so many big chunk plays. It's like in baseball. If you're going to hit 40 home runs, I can live with you striking out every now and then because you're producing for me. I don't know that Josh is ever going to be a 68, 70% passer. But what I do know is he needs to just be better with decisions and not try and be a hero on plays. Take a sack when you have to, throw the ball away, live for that next down. That's, I would prefer to have to rein a guy in because he's so competitive and wants to make things happen than to try and get somebody cranked up. But that's the challenge here for him.
Yeah, one of the things we're talking about today, we've got this poll out and we're asking our listeners to rank, who's going to lead the team in rushing. And unfortunately, Josh Allen led him last year, right? So he's on the list.
About that.
He's on the list. But it's Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy, Devin Singletary. They've got a stable of guys, and there has never been, in fact, we looked it up, there's never been a more experienced top two running backs on a team than these two guys.
The production for those guys.
Right. So what do you think is how much will the running game help a guy like Josh? No question, you don't want him running the football. He's not going to be Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. It's a different philosophy. What are you going to be happy with Josh Allen as far as running the football and not running the football?
Well, the thing about him that's I would say it's unique, but Cam Newton's the same build. I mean, they've got a very similar body type. Whereas a guy like Lamar Jackson, you could look at some of the other athletic quarterbacks we've seen come in the league and say, oh, man, you can't run very much. You're not going to physically hold up. This guy's a freak. I mean, built like that. I'm not going to say, okay, Josh, we don't need you to run. You can still run, and he can still even drop his shoulder on occasion like Cam does. But he needs to be a smaller piece of the run game than he was last year. And I also think getting those guys first and second down and just put him in a more favorable situation. It's the same with the Jets. I mean, last year you both have rookie quarterbacks in third and long situations. They're just not equipped to have all the answers to the test at this point in their career.
With Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network, John Murphy and Steve Tasker here at training camp. All right, let's go back to Cody Ford. He has had most, if not all, of his reps at right tackle.
A little bit of left tackle the other day,
yeah,
right, too?
A little bit of left tackle. But what makes you think he might wind up playing guard for this team?
Well, he's done both at Oklahoma, and there was sometimes just with some athletic edge rushers gave him some trouble at times at tackle. Now, inside at guard, he's a people mover. He's athletic enough to get up to the second level, but I've seen him really dominate people inside. And, you know, I look at what you have at left tackle right now. I think he's a really good football player, and I look at the opportunity to line him up there, and now you can be a left-handed team and go move some people off the ball with him and Dawkins.
Okay. We watched him today, Cody Ford. He was our spotlight player today, and Ed Oliver gave him trouble. I mean, Ed Oliver
He's going to give a lot of people trouble this year.
Yeah, but there was just Ed Oliver's got like a quick dimension that I'm sure got Cody Ford off balance a little bit, right?
Look, and you can even see him. His ankles are so big. Like, he is just a big bone,
Cody?
enormous Cody.
Yeah,
enormous
and he moves pretty
dude.
well for his big.
He does move well, but again, you get with a really athletic guy and you get some space involved. You move inside, you reduce the space, and that'll help him.
Well, one of the things we noticed when Ed Oliver was in there, and I'm going to talk about Ed for a minute, the 3 technique, he's an undersized D lineman, but his explosiveness has been eye-popping. And I was noticing, too, that Cody Ford, they were trying to get down on Ed earlier in one of these plays. Ed was just exploding through, and they had their line splits too big. And a guy like a good 3 technique, all of a sudden, that forces the offensive line to squish down and shorten the corner. And first things first, they start inside and move outside, even if you've got a great pass rusher in there. That really has a ripple effect, a guy who they're worried about shooting the gap so consistently.
And think about, and I was talking to Tremaine Edmonds a little bit earlier, and all the things he did for this defense last year, but I remember in college just how dynamic of a blitzer he was. And I think you talk about a ripple effect. How about you get everybody reduced down in there and you want to let him loose off the edge and do different things with him as a kind of a joker blitzer? He's going to be fun to watch. But I'm anxious to see what McDermott can do to try and fan out protection, because when you're watching these teams each and every week, that most teams don't have one guard that can pass protect. They sure as heck don't have 2. And so you find that guy each and every week, and if you can scheme-wise find a way to fan things out and get one-on-one with Ed Oliver working against the guards in this league, I'll take my chances.
Daniel, you've done a lot of research on quarterbacks around the league, and in particular, the perfect modern NFL quarterback. It's different now than it was maybe even 5 or 10 years ago. What goes into being, the best quarterback you can get in the NFL right now?
Well, I always start with 3 things, and I don't know if these have changed much over the years, but I start with poise, accuracy, decision-making. And when you can get all 3 of those factors, I think you've got something. Now, when it comes to, arm strength and athleticism, you got to have enough. You got to have enough arm strength to make every throw that you need to make. Doesn't have to have a huge arm. You got to have enough. Athleticism, I define athleticism at the quarterback position right now as can you win versus a free man? Maybe 3 or 4 times a game. We need you with a free rusher. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're taking off and running, but can you get away from him like Brady does? Just slide, step, climb, move around. Enough athleticism to be able to get your team out of a position that you're in a bad spot. I think when you start with those things, you've really got something. And now with the RPO game and some of the more athletic quarterbacks coming in, I think teams are trying to they're tinkering with that and toying with that. But it feels like every year, even when they have a great year, they come back with the same talking point. Okay, we got to do less of that now. Okay, we moved the ball, did a good thing. We got to do a little bit less of that going forward. It's still about winning from the pocket.
Yeah, and that's just what I was going to get to. Ultimately, you get to the playoffs, or you get the teams that are going to win the whole thing. You've got to have a guy that'll stand in the pocket and make the throws that'll kill you.
100%.
And ultimately, to be good, you got to do that. Now, certainly you can get there in a number of different ways, but the guy's got to stand there and throw it because that's the way the game's structured.
100%. I actually would add this. And I don't know if many people use this word when talking about quarterbacks. And Josh has this 100%. Toughness. You show me a great quarterback, and you were around a great one who is defined by that toughness. Every great quarterback that I've ever been around or studied, that was a huge element to their game because sometimes you can't get away, and you've got to sit in there, be tall, and take the hit and deliver the ball. And I think toughness is a huge part of it. And you can now, with the way some of these guys move around, you can show that a little bit as a runner.
Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network. As we mentioned, you also are the radio color man on the Chargers radio network, the team that I think finally, and maybe a year or two late, is going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. They're that good, aren't they? They're that talented, at least.
Well, you guys know Tom Telesco, and he's done a wonderful job of building this football team with tremendous depth. And having a chance to go out there and watch them practice last week, and you just go through the different position groups. Running backs, I know Melvin Gordon's not there. We can get to that, but they've got 2 other really good backs. Receiving-wise, Mike Williams has taken that next step. Keenan Allen. They've got Travis Benjamin as a deep threat. And then you go to the pass rushers, which is a great place to start building a football team. When you've got Bosa and Ingram, they draft Jerry Tillery. They've got Uchenna Nwosu last year, had some big sacks for him. They can just throw waves of pass rushers at you. And I think Derwin James, for my money, is the best safety to enter the league in a very long time.
You and I are big fans of Rivers, the quarterback.
Phillip Rivers, yeah. We've had lots of conversations and hypothetical conversations about what would have happened had that draft day trade with the Giants and the Chargers, with Phillip Rivers going to the Chargers and Eli Manning going to the Giants. How would the history of the NFL been changed by that? And it's really fun to think about, because Phillip has had such a productive career. People here on the East Coast, it's easy to forget about him because he's out of division, and you see him once every 3 years. But even the game he put together in Buffalo last year will give you an idea of.
He's special.
He is special at every level.
He is, and what's fun is being somewhat on the outside and studying all these different teams. And I knew Phillip Rivers was really good, but getting a chance last year for the first time to call their games and really study him each and every week, you realize just how important and impressive he is. And he does it every single week, and he stays on the field. He's been durable to go along with it. So, it's fun to watch this team each and every week, and it's easy to root for a guy like Phillip Rivers to finally get to the finish line.
You were at Texans camp, you just said yesterday. Yeah. I think people overlook the Texans. 11-game.
Nobody talks about that team. Am I crazy?
Games, division title a year ago. Why don't they get more
respect? I told him.
I
said it. Not only are they not talked about as the favorite in that division, they're like the last team that anybody talks about, because Jacksonville. Everybody's, they can bounce back. Are they going to bounce back? And we know what the Colts did. And Foles, that story there. The Tennessee Titans, he talks about, can they go from good to great? But this Texans team, quarterback, pass rush, they're in pretty darn good shape.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson played great last year. And I feel like because he's maybe a little more reserved personality-wise, we don't talk about him like we do with Baker and all the excitement with Kyler Murray coming into the league. Even you hear more about Sam and Josh and what they're going to do. This guy threw for over 4,000 yards last year, had 500 yards rushing. I want to say close to 30 touchdowns, under 10 picks. I mean, he is really, really good. And then they've got pass rushers to throw at you.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, the way the season took place in that division, with the Colts going 0-5 and then getting hot and they kind of stole the spotlight from the team that put together a better season, all in all.
And then they beat the tar out of him in the postseason for the Colts in their favor. I mean, they dominated the field that day, but the Texans weren't healthy at that point in time in the season. If they keep Fuller healthy, who can absolutely fly, Will Fuller outside, and Kiki Kuti, who maybe the best name in football, Kiki Kuti. He was phenomenal in practice yesterday. So they've got some flyers. And then you've got Hopkins, who for my money is the best receiver in the NFL right now.
As we let you go here, let me just wrap it up this way. You mentioned right at the top, you think the Bills, you said they've got a shot.
Yeah.
A shot at what? What does that mean?
Well, to me, I think this team's got a shot to be a playoff team. And I think they're in the mix. And if you're going to – look, it's so goofy to throw numbers out at this point in time because any injury can change everything. But when I just look at a team on paper and just get a chance to peek at them today – like, okay, this could be a 9-win team, and that's kind of where I put them at. Now, is 9 wins get you in the postseason this year? I don't know, but who knows? They probably go 14-2. You guys can rack this and throw it back in my face.
Yeah, but that's the way it is. You sit here at this point, you project what everybody was last year, this year, and
things change.
And we arbitrarily say, well, that team will get a little better. This team's going to get a little worse, and it could be just the opposite. But you got the Chiefs and the Chargers in the West. You've got the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens in the North. The New England Patriots, and then the South is going to get at least one of those teams in, and the Colts have every reason to believe they're going to stay good. Yeah.
It's competitive.
Yeah, it's a competitive conference, and when you're going to say, well, we're going to be a playoff team, who's not going to be? And that becomes the question.
I just look around, and really most of the league, who are the layups? I mean, there's some years when you look at it, you're like, okay, well, we look at our schedule. We got 4 layups built in here. We're going to get those, and there's just not many layups anymore.
Hey, we got to let you get back to work, but tell us what's coming up on what can viewers see tonight, NFL Network.
Sure, yeah. Camp. Every day we are inside training camp live. You can find it on NFL Network, and today we had Josh Allen on. We have Tremaine Edmonds on. We had Ed Oliver on. It was great to catch up with everybody here and get a little taste of what this Bills team is going to be like.
All right, and more to come this afternoon?
Yeah, more to come. It'll be going on all day, and they have joint practices on with the Chargers and the Rams getting after it, but we'll be rolling through our Bills content all day.
And where do you head tomorrow?
I am going to the Giants tomorrow to to see Daniel Jones and Eli Manning, and maybe I have to play receiver though, Steve. I don't know if they have anybody left. They've been losing so many guys.
You should put boxing gloves on the two of them and send them half fight it out.
Thanks for this.
Good
Have a
to
great
see you
season,
guys.
Daniel.
Always enjoy it.
Daniel
Travel
Jeremiah of the NFL Network. Steve and I coming back. One Bills Live from Bills Training Camp on Buffalo Bills Radio.